So some Democrats and the media trying to portray the horrific murder of young Laken Riley by an illegal immigrant as just one instance that Republicans are seizing on. But it's not true. There are many terrifying cases that are adding up across the country. In Maryland, a 25-year-old illegal Salvadoran migrant was arrested in connection with the shooting and killing of a 2-year-old child. In Virginia, a Venezuelan migrant charged with sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. In Louisiana, a Honduran migrant was arrested for allegedly raping a 14-year-old and stabbing a man during a robbery. Americans are taking notice, and today there was a stunning moment in Athens, Georgia, where Laken Riley was murdered. Now the town's Democratic mayor is getting shouted down by residents who are furious over the sanctuary city policy there. Watch this.
Who voted to make Athens, Clark County a sanctuary city, sir? Who? What's their name? You're a liar.
We're here to listen.
Liar.
There'll be time for questions.
You are guilty and got blood on your hands. You need to go, sir. We don't want to hear from you no more. You're not defending us. You're not upholding your oath of office, sir. You are lawless.
So he then asked for that man to be taken out of the room. Jesse, I watched this morning and I thought to myself, he came out, he talked about how much money they were spending on safety initiatives now in Athens in order to, make people feel better about this problem, looking into the future. And then he went through a bunch of statistics saying, when you look at college towns, we're actually safer than other college towns. I don't know how this makes anybody feel better about what happened to Laken Riley. And shortly after that, you heard people basically lose their minds in that room.
Because the country's sick and tired of being lied to. They tell us there's no inflation, there's no crime wave. They say there's no evidence Biden's corrupt. They're sick of it, and they're just going to start yelling at politicians. It's the only way you can get their attention. One of the reasons he can state that there's no correlation between illegal immigration and crime is because all of the cities in the country are sanctuary cities, so they don't report any of the illegal alien crime to the FBI. So at the end of the year, they don't have the statistics. Not only that, most of the time they label all of these illegal aliens as white. So it still doesn't show up in any of the data. This guy's a liar. 2 years ago, he was on TV talking about ICE is bad. And Trump is demonizing aliens because of his comments at Charlottesville. And we're going to protect the illegal immigrant population of this town. I looked up his little law on sanctuary cities. It's riddled with loopholes. This is a sanctuary city county. They popped a guy for shoplifting, didn't tell ICE. Same with New York. Popped him for illegal endangerment of a child, didn't tell ICE. Again, they caught him, released him at the border, Georgia and New York. This is destroying the Democratic Party.
Harold, you look at a lot of cities across the country run mostly by Democrats who basically told ICE they had no agency in those cities. They weren't able to deport people, not able to kick them out. Now Mayor Adams is saying we have to go back to the way that it was. Because if it was that way in New York, when this individual who is suspected of killing this young woman endangered the life of a child, he could have been deported immediately. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I think what Mayor Adams is trying to do, he should be supported on. I'm not a big believer you go to town meetings, you just yell at people and yell at politicians. I understand what you're saying. You want to get them to listen, but the way you yell at the politicians, you unelect them. But that's beside the point. I think what you're saying is absolutely right. If I were in Congress in the majority, I'd probably be doing something a lot different than what people are doing now in the Congress. And if they don't want to pass the bipartisan agreement that's been reached in the Senate, why not pass a law and send it to the Senate saying that any city that adopts a sanctuary law pastor, we will deny you federal funds for law enforcement and other things if you don't do this. If they feel that strong, because I feel strongly about it. I mean, I'm passionate about this. I think this issue, the stories that I hear here in New York City from friends, both parties not really the issue at all. The fist fights and the knife fights. I had a friend that told me about a knife fight as she was going to work on the subway yesterday, early in the morning, between two people whom she believed were migrants. No one should be subjected to that. So I think that the idea of yelling is great, but we have an opportunity to bring about some answers here. The White House could sign a reinstatement of some of the Trump border policies that were executive orders. And the Congress should pass laws that give more money to hire more cops, law enforcement, and change the asylum process at the border. We do that, we'll get closer to not allowing more of these awful human beings into our country.
Janine, Harold's acknowledging what's happening in cities. President Biden came out today and did not acknowledge it. He was in the room with a whole group of police chiefs from around the country and talked about how much better things are now. That the homicide rates are down. Didn't mention Laken Riley.
Gaslights us again. He said today, and I wrote it down, he said that violent crime is down. He said that we should be happy, basically, and feel good that they're bringing all these police chiefs together and, you know, violent crime is down and that police are able to confront the violence. That's a bunch of hogwash, okay? It's more lying to the American people. We are at a very dangerous intersection right now in this country, the intersection of crime and immigration. And what we are seeing in all of those cases that you identified, Venezuela, Honduras, El Salvador, and what was the other one? Honduras, Venezuela, El Salvador. The one guy from El Salvador, there's an MS-13 gang member, and I used to prosecute these people. I know them well, okay? What this guy had was a red alert on him. Your red alert is when El Salvador issues a national, international alert saying, anyone who finds him, hold him, we will come and get him. That's El Salvador saying that. Well, where is he? He's in the United States committing crimes. We deport them and they come back. This one guy came back 4 times in one of those cases you talked about. We deport them even if we get to the point where we can, and then we let them right back. We're like a bunch of wimps who don't know how to run a country. And, you know, the idea of feds denying federal funding, there was talk of this during the Trump years. And the problem with that is whether it's a Byrne grant or any other grant that I got when I was DA, is you can't deny funding and say you're a sanctuary city because that funding also involves protection for children. It involves fighting car theft. It involves child abuse. It involves violence against women. It involves all kinds of things. So it's not
But then doesn't that force that city to say, okay, we're not a sanctuary city? That's the idea. Put pressure on.
But here is the point. The problem is some of these places are sanctuary cities, not because of the federal government, not because of the governor. New York City is a sanctuary city. You know why? Because Koch said it was a sanctuary city, and then de Blasio came in and said it was a sanctuary city. They were going to make it even more loose. Okay, so Mayor Adams, you know, I don't buy a thing he says. All right, he comes out and he says, well, we can't help it. We're a sanctuary. And someone says to him, well, what are you going to do about it? He says, I don't know, can we? He was interviewed. He said he didn't know. Now he's all out against it. No, put it on the city council's calendar and get rid of New York City as a sanctuary city. Allow them to come in. And the American people have a right to fight this, and they have a right to be angry.
And I think that's why they're emotional at that meeting and standing up and saying so. Greg, what do you think?
Well, okay, I'm just curious how the AP is going to report these other crimes. An illegal alien rapes a 14-year-old girl. Are they going to talk about the risks of reaching puberty? It sounds gross, right? But that's exactly the mentality. It's that it's on you for living your own life. I love how whenever you listen to liberals, they always begin each conversation with one sentence. We need to have a conversation. It's time for a conversation. And then when you have the conversation, they accuse you of pouncing or seizing. But if you don't pounce or seize, you never, ever have the conversation. In terms of crime rates, if you never talk about crime until it's immigration, that's a bit odd. I would call that political. But Republicans talk about crime all the time, consistently, whether it's citizens, illegal aliens, mass theft, looting, arson. Man, it's our wheelhouse. We scream it every day, and the media doesn't listen. It's not pouncing or political if you're passionate about both illegal and legal crime. Who's not passionate? Biden. He's going to the border tomorrow, not because of bad people, but because of bad polling. That's the only reason why he's going there. It's disgusting that we have to come to this, and that because you care, people question your mindset. Go F yourself.
I'm with you.
But she still should go, right?
Who?
president.
But
not to Brownsville. If he wants to see what's going on, don't go to Brownsville. Go somewhere where you can actually see what's going on.
There's no need to yell at me. We need new policies.
I want to yell at
I'm
you now.
yelling at you. Everyone's yelling. All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.